morning. Welcome to Morning Moments. Thank you for taking the time, whatever platform you're seeing this on, to join us this morning. I have a special guest from Knoxville, Tennessee. He is a DJ, a broadcaster, a singer, among other things. It is my pleasure to bring Brandon Bearden to Morning Moments. Welcome, Brandon, to Morning Moments.
Thank you for having me, Andy. It's good to be here with you.
Well, Brandon, let me ask you the question right away that I ask everybody. What do you do and why do you do it?
Well, Andy, I'm a radio DJ. I'm a television producer, host, editor, and I'm also a gospel singer. And, I do it for the love of gospel music. I've been doing this now for 14 years. And I tell you, it don't get no better than this.
So what motivates you? What brings you to do broadcasting and to do the subject matter that you do?
I started the radio station back in 2011 because I seen a need to keep Southern gospel music alive. In today's world, there are not that many Southern gospel stations out there on the FM dial. We are a dying breed on the FM dial. And my station is an internet radio station. We've been going since 2012, and it has just grown tremendously over the years.
With the internet hitting in, the airways are not limited just to a tower.
Right.
You now are opened up. And as I was sharing with somebody the other day, we were talking about gospel music and talking about the internet, radio, and television. There's a worldwide approach as well, and reach that's there.
There is. I was checking our stats the other day. I had somebody from Russia listening in. I had somebody from Africa. I had somebody from China listening in. I mean, this reaches the whole world. And to think that they're hearing the message that Jesus saves, and he's the only way.
Yeah, I was looking at my analytics from YouTube, and 65% of my audience was United States, and I thought, well, that means the rest of the percentages is somewhere else.
Right.
And here in a local, hit the button, turn it on, and then you can go into all the world and preach the gospel.
That's right. And I started the TV program just last year with a friend of mine, Daryl Gibbs, out of WUAT down in Pikeville, Tennessee. And we go and film festivals. We've got to do the Chuck Wagon Gang. We've been with the Sneed family, the Inspirations, Goodman Revival. I mean, you're talking legacy groups.
Yes.
And we've got to film them, do interviews with them. And it's just amazing. We've seen the show grow. We did 2 seasons last year. We're in our 3rd season. Unfortunately, Daryl had to step away due to health. So I've took over and continued the show, and it's still growing.
Yeah. And there's something about the world of music that some people's, your hearts could be touched with music, which they wouldn't listen to the spoken word. But the Holy Spirit just tugs on their heart with those, sometimes just a few lines in a song.
Oh, yes. I've always heard the singing can get your heart warmed up to let those red letters in.
Yeah.
To get you saved.
Yeah. And not just salvation, but also helping our walk with Christ as well.
Yep.
And encouraging us and knowing that, that God's still with us. He will never leave us or forsake us. He's with us.
That's right.
And there's no low that you can go where he can't reach you. And,
that's right.
And his grace is always sufficient for us.
Oh, yeah. I was invited to be a part of the Ark this year. And unfortunately, I didn't get to go because my bus had broke down. But I was reading on Karen Peck's post, the final count was 932 people saved.
Right. Yeah.
In 40 days
Yeah, I was reading about
that
that
we
too.
reached 932 people.
Yeah, yeah. And you'll never know the lives that you reach. My wife and I were in children's ministry when we were first married. And one time we went to a church and somebody walked up to us and wanted to introduce his wife and kids to us. And so he introduced his wife and kids to us, and he turned to my wife and I and said, "I got saved in this guy's kids crusade when I was a child." Made me feel old, but here's a whole family coming to the Lord by something
Right.
my wife and I did years ago, and that message and that legacy still going on, and
Oh,
that's what
yeah.
that's what happens.
Oh, yeah. See, I grew up in a ministry.
Mhm.
My mom traveled and sung for 10 plus years with a group out of Maryville, Tennessee called the Gospel Melodies. So I've been on the road since I was 3 months old. So I've always had a heart for ministry, and I love to minister. My papa was a Baptist preacher. I have seen that man spit his teeth out and still preach. I mean, it's what I grew up on. I grew up
Yeah.
in a ministry, no matter what it was, either singing, preaching, helping people. I've seen my mama and papa give their last $20 to
Yeah.
help a family go and get groceries.
And in the words of an old Southern gospel song, I don't regret a mile I've
No, I
traveled for the
don't.
Lord.
I've traveled it all my life, and I'm 28 years old,
Yeah,
and I don't regret it.
and you've got a lot of miles ahead of you too, brother.
I sure do. But I have been in full-time ministry now for 14 years.
Wow, that's wonderful. It's wonderful.
It is.
So you broadcast songs and TV stations and TV programs throughout now the internet. Is that correct? So,
Yeah, I do. Our TV program is seen on the local TV station down in Pikeville, Tennessee, channel 18. It's also on our YouTube channel, the Country Gospel Bluegrass Showcase. We've got a Roku channel that we put it on each and every week. So it's worldwide.
I'm going to put down in the comment section, and also as I edit this and put this together, where you could get a hold and listen to them. It's amazing now. You could listen to it while it's being broadcast. Sometimes you can even listen to the recordings of this, and there's always something available for you to listen to. But I want people to listen to this and be connected to what Brandon is doing.
Thank you, Andy. And I just started my singing ministry at the first of this year.
Oh, good.
And for my first project, I did a tribute to a local group here in Sevierville, Tennessee. They were known as the Silver Lining back in the 90s. And they inspired me back in the 90s to sing and instilled in me the love of music.
Great.
And so I did all of their songs, the original arrangement of how they did the songs, and the original music.
Great. So if you're in the Knoxville area, Knoxville's and in that whole area, keep an eye on where you're going to be for concerts and where you're going to be, and so that maybe somebody could catch you on a live
Yep.
concert.
You can go to beardenministries.com and order my music, check my tour schedule. I'm on Bands in Town. I've got a Facebook. I'm pretty much everywhere.
Great. Well, sometimes people wonder, well, what can I do? I know when we were just talking about getting started, I hit my Facebook Live button on my phone and just started it that way. And now God's grown this ministry as well. Sometimes people go, well, how do I start? Just start,
That's right.
And how do I get involved? Go to your church and say, where can I serve? You don't have to have a broadcast around the world. People need to be at your church to seat folks and to usher and to greet and to do the coffee. And there's other things. So
Oh, yeah.
find out where you can serve. And while you're serving, the Lord will give you the next step.
He sure will, Andy.
Good.
God always provides a way to lead.
Yeah. I want you to follow Brandon. And more important than that, when this broadcast is over, I want you to take a few moments and pray for Brandon, that God would use him, open doors for him in his broadcasting and also his singing ministry. Brandon needs the prayers, folks, and you need the practice. So pray that God would continue to bless him. Thank you. Any closing thoughts that you have before we close this broadcast, Brandon?
Both if you have a will and a desire to do something, God will provide the way.
Very good. Absolutely. Thank you for Brandon. Thank you for showing up for Morning Moments. Pass this message on, and if you would, keep coming back for some more Morning Moments.